Hi, I'm Ryder, creator of the bullet journal method, and today I'm answering a commonly asked question from our community. This question comes from Vamshi Krishna. How do you make a consistent practice? Consistency is a key ingredient to affecting any meaningful change in our life. As someone with ADHD, I struggle with consistency. Over the years, though, I've found that struggling with consistency isn't some blanket genetic defect. We are all consistent in some areas of our life, but not in others. Be it reading, cooking, complaining, each of us has something that we do with extreme regularity. Not doing something specific over and over and over again is consistent. There are specific reasons why we may struggle to show up in certain areas of our life, but not in others. Figuring out why we're inconsistent in these areas can help us better develop strategies to become more consistent. If you've been struggling with your Bujo practice, take a moment to check in with yourself to see what you are most alive to these days. Where's most of your attention going? What are you most distracted by? What have you been tolerating? What is stressing you out? What are you most excited about? Now, take a look at your notebook. Is your current Bujo practice helping you navigate those things? If you're struggling with consistency, chances are it's not, and that's okay. That's what this video is about. When it comes to practicing consistency, there are three main questions to consider: why you practice, how you practice, and when you practice. Let's dive in. A key to being consistent is to have a felt sense that this practice is adding value to your life. That's why your Bujo practice needs to be in service of something that feels meaningful to you. Maybe it's to be kinder to yourself, manage your medication, weight, team, mental health, maybe help your spouse. Without a purpose, your practice will eventually feel meaningless. It's hard to remain consistent with anything that feels meaningless. Staying mindful about why you're doing what you're doing will help you both focus your practice and imbue it with purpose. It makes your practice feel meaningful. So what if you did have an intention when you began? Even if you had a purpose when you started, check and see if that purpose still aligns with your current conditions. Our circumstances and therefore our needs are always changing. For a practice to continue feeling meaningful, it needs to be updated regularly. And we need to keep reminding ourselves why we're doing what we're doing. I speak more about this in this video. Bujo, like meditation, yoga, or coding, is a skill. Developing a skill is a process of repeatedly overcoming friction. You need to challenge yourself to grow. Part of staying consistent is making sure that you feel like the friction is worth repeating. Some of the friction with our Bujo practice comes from why we practice, the subjects we write about. Other friction comes from how we practice. Bujo has material considerations that you don't find in the digital space. Most of this friction is by design because it's incredibly useful. For example, having to rewrite things forces us to slow down. This friction creates the conditions for us to be more intentional about choosing what we commit to. We put in a little bit more time up front so we don't waste a lot of time working on things that don't matter. Other sources of friction, however, are not useful, like spending hours setting up a spread that you don't use, or tracking habits that have little to do with your current priorities, or using your notebook as some kind of inventory of sorrows. When evaluating tools for my practice, I ask myself two questions. Do I need this now? And is it helping? The first question helps me check in with myself and target what is most alive for me right now. The second question helps me evaluate those tools based on my lived experience. Sometimes the answer is yes and no, which means that I need a tool, but the one that I'm using isn't working. This isn't failure, it's feedback. To me, that's exciting. Now I have information that I can work with. Understanding what doesn't work is critical in developing something that does. Sometimes the answer is no and yes, which means that I don't need this tool, but it is helping. Tools that help me do things that I don't need to be doing are simply powerful distractions. This is how planning can become a form of procrastination. Most of the times, however, the answer is simply no. I don't need this, and that's probably why it's not helping. To promote consistency, we want to remove as much unnecessary friction as possible from our practice. This is true both on and off the page. If you keep forgetting to bring your Bujo to work, keep a separate one there. If you find the practice too heavy, combine it with something you enjoy, like having your morning coffee. Introduce more play into your practice. If you don't know where to write things down, just start by using a daily log and forget all the rest of the collections. Keep it simple. To keep our practice sustainable over the long run, we need to put as much effort as possible into the things that work and let go of the things that don't. Questions like the one I shared are key to helping us distinguish between the two. The trick isn't just asking these questions though, but to ask them over and over and over again, which brings us to point 3. Our circumstances and therefore our needs are always changing. For our Bujo practice to remain relevant, it needs to be updated regularly. This is what our daily, weekly, and monthly rituals are for. Though each ritual is different, they share the same intention: to take time to check in with yourself and see if our actions are still aligned with what matters to us now. The daily ritual helps me define what matters today. The weekly ritual helps me define what matters this week. And the monthly ritual, you guessed it, helps me define what matters this month. These rituals help us not only curate what we're working on, but also grant us an opportunity to see if working on those things still matters to us. If not, then it's simply a time to define a new purpose based on what is alive for us right now, and then schedule our tasks accordingly using our monthly, weekly, and daily logs. Some may argue that they simply can't make the time, and unfortunately that's true. Time can't be made. Time can only be taken. It can be taken from us, or it can be taken by us. 2 tricks to taking time are: 1, block time on your calendar that doesn't collide with a current responsibility. This is your time, no one else's. Personally, my slot is 15 minutes long and I hardly ever use all of it. Or number 2, wake up a little bit earlier and practice before the rest of your life comes online. Any amount of time we take for ourselves, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, matters. Your entire Bujo practice could begin with you taking a few moments to think about one task that matters to you each day, writing it down, and then doing it. Every step counts, no matter how small. Set the bar so low that you'll actually do it. And now, you don't even have to take those steps alone. One of the most powerful ways to stay consistent is to have some kind of external accountability. One of the greatest parts about the bullet journal method is the global community that surrounds it. This community can be instrumental in helping you discover your why, figuring out the how, and be there for you if you have any questions. I know that's been my experience. Ideally, you find others close to you that are already bullet journaling, or you can join one of the many free Bujo groups online. If you want to avoid ads, algorithms, cat videos, and trolls, you may want to consider joining Bujo U, our membership site. For just a few bucks a month, you get access to a distraction-free, intentional social network dedicated to the bullet journal method. It's designed from the ground up for exchanging ideas with other bullet journalists who share similar challenges and passions as you do. Connecting to people with similar interests can greatly improve consistency. In Bujo U, there are many different spaces dedicated to different interests ranging from parenting to school to ADHD to productivity. Additionally, I run live monthly planning events to help you set up your notebook every month. As a thank you for asking this question, Vamshi, you'll get a 30-day free trial to Bujo U. Check out the description box below to get in touch with my team. For your chance to win a free 30-day membership, please submit any questions you may have about bullet journal or intentional living in the comments below. I hope this video has been helpful. If so, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. It makes a big difference. Thank you so much for taking the time. Happy bullet journaling, and I'll see you in the next one.